Good morning. Today I'd like to give you an overview of the last unit that we're going to address in this semester, and that is a unit I call Human Body Form and Function. I want to walk you through an introduction of what we mean by form fits function. It's a phrase that we use often in this particular unit. So form means the anatomy of an organism, so the morphological structures that make up a particular system, in this case for the human body. The function is the jobs that an system does. So the physiology, the how and why something is working. We are often going to be saying in this particular unit, form fits function. This implies that the tools that we have on our body have been selected over time to fit the jobs that they do, the functions that they do for us. I show bird wings over here in my picture, and these bird wings are very specifically shaped so that they can help an owl fly. These particular flight feathers, they actually are folded over one another or stacked in a particular way so that the bird can actually get lift. And even on an owl, you get these serrated edges. I don't know if you see that, so that form allows for a more silent or stealthy flight. So form fits function. A lot of the different structures inside of our body look and are shaped a certain way to do a certain job for us. So let's get started today. I want to walk through the human body, and I want to sort of talk about how we build a multicellular organism. So how do we go from cells all the way to you? And what are the baby steps that we need in order to build this sort of larger multicellular organism? So I'm going to start at the top here, cells. We're going to talk about cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, finally building that multicellular organism. All right, so we've talked about cells before. We had a full unit on cells, so you should kind of know that cells are the basic unit of life. By that I mean that it's the smallest thing I can take from you and keep alive in a test tube or a petri dish, right? It carries out those 7 characteristics of life that we talked about on day 1 of this particular semester. And cells are interesting because even their form fits their function. If you look over here, you might recognize this as a nervous system cell. It's got this very spider webby sort of these extensions out of this cell body. And the shape of that particular cell enables it to collect information from all around the cell body so that it can make sense of pain, pressure, these kinds of sensory items that your body's going to take in to make sort of responses for you. So even a nervous system cell has a particular shape. It's different than this muscle cell over here because they are doing different jobs for us. Tissues are 2 or more cells that are working together. Typically, they're integrated, so the cells are communicating and they're carrying out a specific function together. Over here on this slide, I have underlined the 4 kinds of tissues that I want you to know. So epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissue. There are some examples within here that we'll go through, but I want you to at least know those 4 basic types of tissues that are required to build a human body. So epithelial tissue is the first kind of tissue. This is a tissue that typically lines or covers cavities or body organs. It typically has a protection function, maybe from the environment or from other spaces inside the body. This kind of layer typically regenerates quickly. I think in our cellular and our DNA unit, we talked about how 80% of all the cancers in the human body typically are in this kind of tissue or this kind of grouping of cells because they're connected to the environment, so they have lots of exposure to those kinds of things. So epithelial tissue is tissue number 1. Connective tissue is where you have scattered groups of cells that are either binding and supporting, communicating with other types of tissues. If you have ever dissected a deer or sort of done anything with chicken before you cooked it, like a whole chicken, something like that, that you might have cut into a cavity and seen some of these different connective tissues. So loose connective, if you cut into kind of a deer carcass or something like that, then you will see all this kind of spider webby material that holds organs in place. That is your loose connective. Adipose is typically you're storing fat, so it's often kind of a yellowy color at the surface, and it's cushioning or around around organs sometimes. Blood, most of us have seen from meats and things like that, or our own blood on accidents, right? A bad day. And that also is a group of cells that are binding. They're scattered throughout the body, but binding and supporting other tissues. Cartilage on the tip of your nose and your ears, you get this very flexible kind of sort of supportive tissue. And bones, of course, are a part of this too. So if you feel your wrist, you can feel those hard parts as well. So we have epithelial tissue, connective tissue. Those are some pictures of your connective tissue. You also have muscle tissue. That's the third kind. Muscle tissue comes in a variety of kinds, so skeletal here, cardiac, and smooth. Let me walk you through these. Skeletal muscle is there. It's highly striated. When you look at it underneath the microscope, you can see those bands. And typically skeletal muscle is for movements of various sorts. When we look at cardiac muscle, this is the muscle that's wrapping the heart. This is a very strong muscle because it has to work all the way from fetal development to the end of your life, right? One of the signs or calls of death, right, will be your heart stopping. So it works for your entire life. Smooth muscle underneath the microscope looks a little bit smoother. It doesn't have those intense striations that we see in the other two. And these are often found, these muscle groups are often around your involuntary sort of organs. So things like your digestive tract to move food along from your mouth to your anus. So we have three kinds of tissues. So our epithelial, connective, muscle. The last kind is nervous tissue. Nervous tissue over here, I show a cell body. A neuron is the basic unit or the basic cell type in this particular tissue group of cells. And we have these different extensions that come from that cell body. This kind of cell allows us to send electrical messages around our body so that we can make sense, we can take in stimuli, make sense of it, and send out responses and respond to our environment. If we take two or more tissues and we package them together so that they have a coordinated function, we get an organ. So two or more tissues working together is an organ. Over here, I show the small intestine. You can see that it has an epithelial tissue on the outside where food passes. Just underneath that epithelial tissue, you get blood to take in your nutrients, lymphatic tissue to maybe clean up any kind of bacteria or anything like that that's come in. You have some smooth muscle layers to sort of coordinate movement from mouth to anus so that your food is moving down your digestive tract, and some connective cushioning and epithelial on the outside of this particular organ as well. So all of these tissues work together to help you digest and absorb your food and your nutrients, and so this is called an organ. Lastly, we have about 12 organ systems. Organ systems are two or more organs that are coordinated for a common vital body function. And depending on how the textbooks break these into groups, I have 10 groups, but sometimes there's up to about a dozen major organ systems for the human body. This particular unit, we're going to try to attack and learn a little bit about all these body systems. We will go through the form and function of the system and a little bit about problems or a smattering of disorders and things like that with each of the body systems.